How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to our next episode on how to upload a website to the internet. Now, what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to go ahead and explain what exactly is required in order to take a website that is on your computer and upload it to the internet. And then afterwards, I'm going to do it step by step so you can actually follow me in case you get stuck somewhere or if you can't do it on your own. So just if you want to see it, I'm going to go ahead and do it with you. Now, the first thing I want to explain is there's a couple of things that we need to have before we can actually upload a website to the internet. The first thing is, of course, you need to have a website. The one that I have in front of me here is the one that we've been building a couple of episodes back in this course. And you don't need to use this specific website. You can just take your own website if you want to. There's no specific requirement other than you just need to have a index.html page in order to get the website to work. So if you just want to set something up really quickly that you can use for this episode, you could also just create an index page and just fill in some text or something. You don't need to have a complete website in order to do this. Now, the next thing I want to explain is the fact that in the first episode in this course, I said that it is free to make a website. And while that is true, it does cost a small fee to actually upload a website to the internet. And this is something that might turn off some people. It's a bit more the first time you actually need to upload your website, but then afterwards, once you do actually have a place to upload your website, it doesn't cost that much after that. So what you're going to need is what we call a domain. And you're also going to need something called a server. Now, a domain is, if I were to go inside the browser here and go to mmtuts.com, the name mmtuts.com is the domain name. Now, the place that we put the website, where we actually need to upload the website to, the place that contains the website on the internet, is called a server. So what we need to do is we need to buy, first of all, a domain, and we need to buy a server. Now, the domain is a one-time purchase. The server is something that you need to pay for a small amount each month, however long you want to have the website. And it's not a lot of money, it's just a small fee, but it can be a bit overwhelming for some people the first time you need to buy a website, because you do need to pay some money for the domain. Now, I just want to point out as well that I have seen people write on some of my videos in the comments that you can go to this hosting company and get both a domain and a server for free or cheaply. Now, I take it as a personal quest to go into my channel and remove these comments that advertise hosting companies, because usually when hosting companies get advertised inside my comment area, it's not really the best hosting companies that get advertised. It's usually something that is really bad quality or something that might, end up hurting you in the future. So what I want to do is, or what I went ahead and did, is I picked a hosting company that is really cheap, but also one of the most popular hosting companies in the world, called HostGator. Now, I do know that this website is very cartoony, and I do know that the mascot is an alligator, but don't get confused by the fact or scared away by the fact that it looks like this, because it is actually one of the most used hosting companies in the world. So go ahead and go to hostgator.com or something else that might be equivalent to it. I'm just saying that I'm going to be using HostGator, so if you get stuck somewhere inside where you don't know what to do next, then I can't help you if you're not using HostGator. I'm just going to point that out. So inside hostgator.com, I'm just going to go ahead and go to web hosting. And inside web hosting, we get a couple of options. We can choose different plans. Now, typically, if you just have a small business website, it's usually the cheapest one that you should choose. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose the one where you get a single domain, one-click installs, and unlimited bandwidth. This one is also the cheapest one. It starts at $2.75 a month. It might change in the future as I'm making this video, but right now it's this price for this specific hosting company. Now, just to point out, what I want to do is I want to buy the domain called mmtuts.com. And as you can see, right now there's no website inside mmtuts.com. I haven't actually bought it yet, and it is available because I checked it right before doing this tutorial that I could actually buy it. So if you go to a hosting company and you say you want to sign up now, it's gonna take you to this page where you can actually click in what domain you want to buy. So if we were to say mmtuts, it will tell you if it's available or not. So right now it says, oh, you can in fact buy mmtuts.com. And there's also these options if you want to buy more domains with this name. So other people can buy a domain with a similar name to yours, but with another dot something extension. So just to point that out, that other people can do that. So what some companies do, some big companies like Google or those sort of companies, they buy all the different versions of their specific website. But because I'm a small person, I don't have the money or the capacity to buy all of these, I just sort of stick with one domain. And as you can see, eminentools.net is actually purchased and unavailable because I already own that one. So I'm going to go ahead and choose eminentools.com, and I'm just going to go ahead and go down to different options we have down here. Now, I just want to point out that right now there's some default settings that have been chosen to make my domain more secure, or my server more secure, so hackers and that sort of thing can't get access to it and ruin it. So right now there's something called domain privacy protection. That is not the hacking thing. What domain privacy protection does is that it just goes in and protects your personal information from the website. Because you can go to external websites and type in a domain and then see who owns it. So what this does is that it makes sure that nobody can see who owns this website. Now I'm just going to go ahead and check it off. I don't need to use this domain for anything. I just need to test out how to upload a website. You guys need to decide if you want to have this domain privacy protection turned on and pay a little bit extra for it each month. It's up to you. Now, if we were to go further down, you can see we have a couple of different options. We have a hatchling package type, which is the cheapest option, so I'm just going to keep that one for now. We also have billing cycle, and the more months you pay for, the cheaper it gets. Now, because I just need it for this specific tutorial and essentially don't need to use this domain afterwards, I'm just going to go ahead and buy 1 month. I'm going to set a username. I'm just going to choose something, eminentools, and a security PIN number, which I'm just going to choose at random here. And as you can see, I'm actually going to go ahead and blur out this information because I don't want you guys to see what my security is. So I'm just going to go ahead and blur that out for now. Then afterward, further down the page, we need to add in our billing info so we can actually buy it. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in my info and just sort of blur everything out so you can't see it because I don't want you guys to see my personal information. So just going to type it in really quickly. Okay, so now I added in my personal information and I just scroll down to the next section where we need to choose what kind of additional services we want to add to our domain. So right now I can see it did actually choose a couple of different options as a default. Again, these are optional, but I just want to point out what exactly they do so you know if you should keep it or not. Because some of these are worth keeping if you want to make your site more secure. So the first one here is something called site log monitoring, which is a service they have that goes in and protects your website from hackers. It actually describes it pretty well here. So it's highly recommended that you use this service. Now, I'm not going to use it because I'm not going to be using this domain, but for your sake, if you want to actually use this website for anything personal or business-wise, then I do recommend that you use it so you don't have these sort of attacks happening to your site. So I'm just going to go ahead and check it off, but again, I recommend that you don't check it off if you want to use this website. Now, the next one down here is something called backup your hard work, which is also where they just automatically go in and make a backup of your domain in case you make changes to it from time to time. So if you just have a static website that doesn't really have any changes to it, I don't see why you should have this. But if you have a website that has a blog on it or products or something that you need to keep track of, and something suddenly happens and breaks the website, then it's a good thing to have so you can go back and, go back to a previous state so you have all the files and everything again. Now, I'm not going to have this checked on because I don't need it. I'm just going to check it off and go down to the next point. Now, there's a coupon code that it added for me by itself, which I think is pretty nice. And then we can actually see the full price here. So with all the different services turned off, then you get $26.64. Now, if we were to actually check on the security thing, you can see we get $30.38. So it's not really that big of a difference, but still, just because I'm not going to use this domain afterwards, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So down here, you can see an overview over what exactly you bought. And this is the one-time purchase that you need to make. Now, each month after this is going to cost you about $11 to keep the website running. So it does cost additionally each month, just so you're aware of it, to have a website. After this, I'm just going to go ahead and say I read and agreed to the terms of service. I didn't, but I'm just going to say I did, and go to checkout. And then I get taken to my PayPal because I decided to pay with PayPal. Now you guys, if you paid with credit card, are going to be taken to a different page. I'm just going to go ahead and use my PayPal here and blur out everything you see because I don't want you to have access to it. Okay, so get ready. We're setting up your account. That's good. So the next thing I want to point out here is that after we bought the domain and the server, there is a software that we can use in order to upload the website to our server. It's not something you have to have, but it's something that makes it a lot easier in the future if you want to switch out files from your website. So you don't have to go inside the browser and log into hostgator.com each time. And it's this software called FileZilla. Now there is another one called CyberDoc, which is also popular. I like using FileZilla. I'm going to go and leave links to FileZilla and CyberDoc in the description of the video, together with a link to HostGator. So you can go ahead and download this specific client. Now, the download link you want to click on is the one over here on the left side. This one over here is just a server. You don't need that. What we want is a file transfer protocol client, which allows for us to, transfer files using a protocol, as in the name, to our online server. So we do actually upload it to our domain, if that makes sense. So download this software, whether or not you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux, and go ahead and install it. Because after you've done so, and after they're done building my HostGator account, we're going to go ahead and upload the website to the internet. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point out before we upload the website to the internet, which is, first of all, when you do actually upload a website to the internet, there's a couple of things you need to check for in order to make sure that your website is ready to get uploaded. So if you do actually have a finished website, there's a checklist that you need to go through in order to see if you're actually ready to upload. Now, the first thing is that you should always proofread your website. If there's spelling mistakes or something that you missed, maybe some links are not working on your website, once you upload the website, people can see it. So they will point out spelling mistakes or errors and that sort of thing if you do not have these things taken care of. And as we can see, we do actually have an account now. I'm just going to go through the list really quickly. Now, the next thing you need to make sure is that your website does have the necessary meta tags inside the head tag. And we did actually have an episode on that, or I did upload an episode on that. I think the previous episode, no, an episode before the last one, I showed you what kind of meta tags you should have inside a website. The next thing you need to make sure is that your website works in all browsers: Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, all these different browsers. I might have said Opera wrong. Opera. You need to make sure the website works in all these different browsers because it will be slightly different depending on the browser. So go ahead and just test it out and make sure it works. After you've done that, you need to validate your website. Now, there is an online validator called, and I'm just going to go ahead and find it here, validator.org or .w3.org, which is a place where you can validate your website to make sure that it is marked up correctly. Because if you were to take a page from your website, just going to go ahead and grab maybe the front page. I haven't tested it yet, so I hope I made everything correctly when we did the tutorial on this. Just going to drag it in. Oops, we do actually need to go back one more. We do need to go into validate by file upload because you can, if you have the website online, if we were to take my mmtools.com, copy it, and just paste it inside here, and then we'll actually run the entire website and tell you if there's something wrong. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm just going to file upload by going in here, and then I'm going to drag it in. Then I can run check and see if everything is like it should be. Now there is one error inside my code or inside my markup inside the front page we made together, which is the fact that it doesn't like that I use this long link to the fonts that I linked to inside Google's own font website. And I'm just going to go ahead and ignore this error because it is the actual link that Google said I should use. So it's not an error I'm going to take care of. But as you can see, there's no other errors inside my website, which is good. So you should always validate all pages inside your website to make sure there's no errors inside of it. And you can use this link that I'm going to put in the description of this video to actually make sure the website looks like it should. The last thing we need to make sure is that we keep a copy of our website offline before you upload it to the internet. Don't upload the website and then delete it from your computer, because you need to have a version of it in case something happens to your online domain and you need to re-upload the website. So it's very important to keep a copy of your website. So our order is completed. I'm just going to go ahead and go into my account. I am already logged in apparently, and I'm going to go ahead and find a place where we can use our FileZilla program and access the server. So we need some information in order to actually access our online server. So I'm going to go ahead and go back inside HostGator. Now again, I've never used HostGator before, so I'm just going to show you how easy it is to find what you need to find. So just going to go into domains, I guess, because we need to pick the domain we bought. And as you can see, we do have a domain. Right now it says domain pending, payment has not yet been received. And that's probably because it takes a little while for it to actually process the website. Okay, so while my payment is going through and being processed, I just want to show you that I did actually receive a couple of emails inside my inbox, inside my email account. And the first one was a billing for buying a domain and a server on HostGator. The second email is this one, with all the information that I need in order to log into my dashboard inside HostGator. It's very important that you don't throw away this email. If you didn't receive one, make sure to contact HostGator and tell them that you didn't receive an email. I do want to point out, sometimes it can take a little bit before you receive the email. So just go ahead and wait about half an hour to an hour to see if you still haven't gotten the email yet. If you haven't gotten it by then, contact them and tell them you didn't receive an email. Okay. So I waited for about 5 to 10 minutes and then I received an email from HostGator saying I had to verify my email address. So I went ahead and went to my inbox and clicked on the link and verified my email. Then I went back into HostGator and now you can see it says that I have my domain working. So what I can do now is we can actually go ahead and visit our domain site. And as you can see, this is what we have inside the website so far because we haven't uploaded any kind of files to our website. So what we need to do now is we need to access our server and delete the files that are existing inside the server, because what we have here is the existing files from HostGator, because they have some default files inside our website that we need to take out and replace with our website files. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside our HostGator dashboard again. I'm going to go to hosting because I did have some time to look around while I was waiting for this to go through. And inside the hosting tab, we're going to go ahead and go to files and folders. Then when we get here, we have two options. We can either open File Manager, which is going to open up a window with all the files for our website. Now, what we want to do here is we want to access the folder called public HTML. If I go into this folder, you can see that we have a couple of different files. And these are the default files that we right now can see inside the website. So we need to delete these and replace them with our own website files. Now, I'm not going to use this window inside the browser. I'm actually going to use FileZilla for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back inside my dashboard, go to FTP accounts. And inside the FTP accounts page, you can see that we need to create a new FTP account. Now, I did have a small cut here because I realized we needed to create an FTP account. Typically, inside a hosting company, you don't need to create an FTP account. It's just set up for you. So I was just sort of stumbled by the fact that we had to create one. So we're just going to go ahead and say create. And it's going to open up a creation window. So I'm just going to go ahead and create an account. I'm going to say, well, right now you can actually go ahead and set up an email account. So we can say daniel@eventuts.com. I'm going to not set a directory name because we need to have it inside our main directory when we access the FTP to our server. So we don't want to set a directory name. Now I'm just going to set it to an unlimited quota, meaning we can upload until we run out of space on the server. And I'm going to go ahead and create a password. So I'm just going to create something I can remember. So you need to create something as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and create account. After doing this, we should have some information here that we need to use in order to access our website using FileZilla. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to File, Site Manager. Now the one that I have here already is my existing website, so I'm not going to access that one. So I'm going to click New Site, I'm just going to give it the name as the website that we have created called eventuts.com. In your case, it's going to be something differently, of course, because you have a different website than I do. Going to click enter. Then we need to fill out the information on the side here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and drag the website out to the side here so we can actually see the info. And inside the host, we need to add the server name. So right now you can see it's called Gator 4274 blah blah blah. Just going to copy that, paste it in. The port is always going to be 21 when you use FTP, or at least in most cases it's going to be 21. So we're just going to say that. And inside the logon type, we're going to say normal. And then I'm going to use the username, which was daniel@eventuts.com. And then I'm going to change the password to whatever I wrote inside when we created the FTP account. I'm going to click connect. Just going to abort what I had going on here. It's just going to go and retrieve our, the server. And as you can see, we now have a bunch of files and folders. Now, the one we're looking for was the one called public_HTML. So I'm just going to go ahead and access it here, open it up. And as you can see, we now have the same files as inside the dashboard inside the browser. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and delete these because we don't need them. And after doing so, I'm just going to open up my website with all the files in it that's on my computer. Just going to highlight everything, drag it into FileZilla, where we deleted all the files. And it's going to start uploading them one by one. As you can see in the bottom here, it says queued files, if I could say that correctly, which means how many is left. And then we have successful transfers. Or if any files failed, we'll have them here in the middle. So now we uploaded everything. I can go to my website, refresh, and now you can see we have a completely new website. And it's online because it's on eventuts.com up here. So now we have a website uploaded to the internet. Now I just want to point a couple of things out before we end off the episode, which is if you open FileZilla back up at one point, let me actually just close it down and open it. And I want to access my website. Right now, you can see the website is not here anymore. You might be thinking that, well, should we type in the information each time we do this? No, you do not. Some people prefer writing everything inside. Up here, we can see the host, username, password. But because we went into Site Manager, we have everything saved inside here. So we just go ahead and click Connect. And then you can see we have the website again. So I can just go to Public, HTML. And then we have the website. So each time I make changes to the website and I just want to re-upload maybe the gallery page, if I made a change to that one, I can just drag and drop it into public HTML and replace the file. So that's how we do that. And I think that was pretty much it. I don't think there's anything I want to talk about inside HostGator's dashboard because what we just talked about here is what you're going to be touching inside the dashboard in order to get the upload working. So there's nothing else you need to worry about. Now, if you do have issues with HostGator, you can go to the main site. At the top of the website, you can see they have a live chat function. So if you have any kind of issues, you can open it up, write what kind of issue you have, and then you're going to get in contact with a person from HostGator that can help you fix whatever issue you might have. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.